What if the NFL's future superstar is already inside a locker room and no one's talking about it? No hype, no headlines, no egos, just silence, patience, preparation. That's exactly what seems to be happening with Shedeur Sanders. While analysts debate rookie QB rankings and fans argue over highlight reels, Shedeur Sanders is sitting on the scout team in Cleveland, quietly stacking days. No media frenzy, no drama, just work. And that might be exactly what makes him so dangerous. Because while most NFL rookies come in trying to take over the camera, Shedeur's taking over the playbook. Off the field, he's quiet. In the locker room, he's focused. On the practice field, he's building something no one sees coming. Ask yourself this: when's the last time a rookie QB talked more about chemistry and scout reps than stats and playing time? He's not tweeting cryptic messages, demanding reps, or feeding hot takes to media outlets. Instead, he just sat down with Cleveland.com and dropped one of the most mature, veteran-sounding interviews we've seen from a rookie this year. Here's what he said: "Every day is game day." Let's pause on that. That's not just a soundbite. That's a mindset. That's a professional. That's someone who isn't waiting for the league to validate him. He's preparing to take it from the inside out. And this isn't any rookie. This is Shedeur Sanders, son of primetime himself, Deion Sanders, a kid who's been trained not just for football, but for the moment. Except, here's the twist: he's not in a moment yet. No week one start, no flashbulb debut, no postseason push. He's on the scout team. That's usually where sixth-rounders go to die, where undrafted players fade, where names get forgotten. But that's not happening here. Why? Because Shedeur is treating the scout team like a starter's reps. He said it himself. He's happy playing 6 games a week, not 1. He's making every practice count as a real battle. He's building chemistry with receivers most fans haven't heard of, yet. He's creating live game pressure in a no-audience environment. And more importantly, he's competing every day against one of the best defenses in football. That includes Myles Garrett, a man most starting QBs lose sleep over. Meanwhile, Shedeur's out there going up against him like it's normal. And when speaking about it, he had the most chillingly confident line of his entire interview: "All teams don't have a Myles Garrett." Translation: if I can get work done here, it's going to be easy when it's time. That's not cocky. That's calculated. No all-caps tweet, no highlight montage. Just a perfectly delivered message. You haven't seen what's coming, but I have. See, here's where Shedeur separates himself. Not just from other rookies, but from other backups. Most guys riding the quarterback carousel in the NFL don't have his poise. They're either forcing throws in garbage time or clinging to clipboard duty until they're waived mid-season. Shedeur, he's embracing the moment without needing the moment to shine. And that's terrifying. Because guys who wait quietly, don't chase clout, live in the film room, and treat the scout team like Sunday night football. Those guys don't surprise defenses, they shock franchises. And if you think this is just practice talk, ask any NFL player who's lasted more than 5 years in the league. They'll tell you the truth. The real pros show up when no one's watching. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is giving us every sign that he's not waiting for opportunity. He's building undeniable value behind closed doors. His offense, quietly cooking. His reads, sharpening. His timing and trust with second-string receivers, brewing into something that could flip an entire quarterback room if injuries or inconsistencies show up in Cleveland. And here's another layer you can't ignore. He's being coached mentally, spiritually, and professionally by Deion, a Hall of Famer, a media veteran, a leader of men. And he's raised Shedeur to be one thing above all else: prepared. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's not hype. That's the game plan. Shedeur Sanders isn't riding bench waiting for someone to fumble. He's climbing the invisible staircase, waiting for the right door to open. And when it does, the league won't just meet a rookie QB. they'll meet a silent assassin who's been secretly grinding with all pro defenders, overlooked receivers, and laser beam focus for months. And that should scare every team in the league. The NFL doesn't slow down for rookies. You either walk in like you've belonged your whole life, or you get swept off the field before the season's halfway over. Most young quarterbacks come into the league barking for attention. They want reps, they want interviews, they want the lights on their name before they've thrown a meaningful snap. But Shedeur Sanders, he's moving differently. He's not tweeting, he's not sulking on the sideline, he's not making noise when the cameras are rolling. He's doing something far more uncommon and far more dangerous. He's thinking long-term. I'm learning every day. In a recent interview with Cleveland.com, Shedeur didn't come off as frustrated, impatient, or bitter. Instead, he sounded grateful. Grateful for his situation. Grateful for the depth of the quarterback room. Grateful for a front-row seat to what it means to build a career in the NFL the right way. It's a learning thing every day. I'm in a great position to sit back, understand the game plan, understand everything the NFL is. Think about that. He didn't say he felt snubbed. He said he felt fortunate. He's using this time, not wasting it. He's not reacting the way most big-name college quarterbacks do when they land on NFL scout teams. He's embracing the role like it's part of the design. Not beneath him, not unfair. Just step one. That's rare. And that tells you everything you need to know about where Shedeur Sanders is heading. Weekdays, Sundays. Most quarterbacks are trained to live for Sunday. That's when the cameras are on. That's when performances go viral. That's when the MVP conversations start or end. But not for Shedeur. In his own words, the benefit of his position right now is that every day is game day. Let that sink in. So I look good. I have 6 games a week. I'm happy, rather than just having 1 game a week. That's a mentality shift most rookies never make. Shedeur's practicing like these reps count, like the reps on Tuesday carry just as much value as 3rd down in the 4th quarter. And when he shows up each day, he's not jogging through scripts. He's treating every practice like an opportunity to grow. Not to prove something, but to refine the edge so that when he really attacks, he does it with precision. That awareness, it doesn't come from hype. It comes from humility. The shadow of prime being Deion Sanders' son could have gone one of 2 ways. Some kids collapse under that shadow. They try to be loud, bigger than life, carving their own name by going against the grain, ditching patience for headlines. But not Shedeur. He's doing the opposite. He's adopted his father's confidence, but replaced flash with focus. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's not something you say to sound cool. That's a mantra. It's how you discipline yourself to show up every day at 6 a.m. for film. How you take scout team matchups as seriously as Sunday games. How you go toe-to-toe with starting caliber linebackers and linemen and walk away grateful for the scar tissue. If anything, he's doing exactly what a coach's dream looks like. Low ego, high IQ, maximizing the quiet reps when no one is watching. Fortune favors the focused. Look around the league. How many young quarterbacks were thrown into the fire too soon? How many careers got derailed by expectations, overhype, and poor situations? Now compare that to what Shedeur Sanders is doing. He's not getting rattled because he's not rushing his moment. He's using this rare time to become the quarterback he knows he'll need to be, not just for a 1-game flash, but to lead a franchise for years to come. He's asked 0 times about playing time. He's doing 0 post-game rants. He's working 6 days a week behind the scenes to stack layers of confidence and chemistry. The crazy part? He might already be ready, but he's mature enough to wait until it's undeniable. And that is what separates him. Most rookies think like this: what can I do so they'll notice me? Shedeur thinks like this: what can I do today that makes me unshakable 6 months from now? It's not passive, It's patient and powerful. The trademark of a player who won't ask for an opportunity. He'll walk in, already own it. Usually, when people hear scout team, they think of leftovers. Guys not good enough to crack the rotation. Receivers who won't make the 53. Backups giving the starters a look, a formality, a footnote. But what Shedeur Sanders just described, that's not a placeholder group. That's a movement in disguise. Because while most scout teams are made up of players just trying to survive practice, Shedeur's scout unit, they're treating every rep like every day is game day. Shedeur didn't just say that lightly, he meant it, and he's built his whole mindset on it. To most players, practicing on the scout team means you've been pushed to the background, but Shedeur's flipped that definition upside down. To him, the scout team is not a penalty, it's a platform. And it's not just about him. He's brought the entire unit with him. He talked about the receivers and tight ends he works with every day. Guys you've probably never heard of. But in his mind, they're stars waiting for the lights to turn on. Listen to this line. The receivers we have on scout team are explosive. They just need an opportunity. That's respect. That's leadership. That's someone who's not just developing as a player. He's maturing into a franchise builder. Because it's not just about what he's doing. It's about how he's making the guys around him believe they're worth more than their current role says. Chemistry that doesn't wait for. Shedeur also made something very clear. They're not going through motions out there. They're competing, like it counts, like the tape is live, like the scoreboard is on. He's syncing with receivers, building rhythm, creating muscle memory under pressure. We play with a different purpose. That line hits hard. Because that's the difference between guys going nowhere fast and guys building something brick by brick in silence. This group isn't just helping the starters stay sharp. They're mastering each other. They wake up every day knowing they might not start a game this Sunday, yet show up with the mindset of people preparing to hijack the future. And when you bring that energy to practice, day after day, something happens. It stops feeling like backup work. It starts feeling like you're building a championship offense, just in the shadows, facing elite defenses every day. Here's something most people don't think about. Shedeur Sanders isn't just repping plays from the script. He's doing it against the Browns' first-team defense. And that includes guys like Myles Garrett, elite edge monster, a linebacker core that flies like missiles, a secondary that disguises coverages like seasoned veterans. He's going up against these guys every single day, trying new reads, learning timing, shortening his motion, tightening his drop. Shedeur even joked, "You always get sacked by Myles anyway." But not every team has a Myles Garrett. That's not sarcasm, that's self-awareness. He knows the pressure he's seeing in practice is harder than what some backups will face in real games. And rather than getting discouraged, he's sharpening the sword. Imagine what happens when he finally gets game reps against another team, without a generational pass rusher screaming into the backfield every 3 seconds. It might start looking very easy for him very fast. The scout team with a starter's mentality. Shedeur has taken a group of underplayed underdogs and turned them into a dedicated, bonded, dangerous practice unit. He calls it family. He speaks with gratitude. And the results? They're starting to speak for themselves. This is more than just reps. It's chemistry. It's timing. It's responsibility. It's a quarterback learning how to lead a group that doesn't get the glory, but plays as if the whole world's watching. And that group, someday soon, they will be. Let's just be real for a second. If you're a rookie quarterback, the last guy you want in your face every single day is Myles Garrett. He's not just a Pro Bowler. He's not just fast. He's a once-in-a-generation game wrecker. 6'4", nearly 280 pounds of raw explosion, technique, and rage. And for most quarterbacks, that means one thing: survive practice. But not for Shedeur Sanders. He's not just handling it, he's embracing it. Because in his words, all teams don't have a Myles Garrett, That's not an excuse. That's a warning. The ultimate challenge every day. Think about the quarterbacks Myles Garrett has humiliated over the last few seasons. Top-tier guys, veterans, franchise faces, big names with playoff wins under their belt. And yet in practice, every single day, Shedeur's stepping up to the line knowing that clock is already ticking. The pressure is coming. It's coming fast, and it's coming from one of the best edge rushers alive. For most rookies, that kind of heat would shatter their confidence. But for Shedeur, that's just routine. Pressure as a privilege. Instead of backing down, Shedeur is learning through fire. He sacrificed clean pockets for experience. Here's what he's doing with that. Tightening his drops so he doesn't drift too deep. Adjusting his launch point tee. Speeding up his progressions without rushing his reads. Refusing to panic under pressure. Getting real-time feedback from facing elite defenders. This isn't scout team versus scout team. This is Shedeur going up against the defense ranked top 5 in the NFL. In walkthroughs that move like scrimmages. He doesn't have security blankets. He has Myles Garrett breathing down his neck. And what does he say about it? Calmly, confidently. It helps me. That is veteran-level mindset. Most rookies would break. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't normal. Most rookie QBs are being protected at all costs. The coaches ease them in. The play calls are simplified. The defensive reps are dialed back. Because the risk is too high. Confidence can be fragile. Mechanics still developing. Pocket presence? Probably non-existent. But Shedeur has been thrown into the deep end from day one. And instead of struggling, he's using it like training with resistance. If you can operate comfortably with Myles Garrett chasing you 5 times a practice, defensive fronts like the Colts, the Raiders, the Broncos, they don't scare you anymore. Iron sharpens iron. There's a saying in football, you either get exposed or you get better. And the truth is, Shedeur's doing both, but in a controlled setting. Any flaws? They're getting revealed by Cleveland's violent, suffocating pass rush. But the difference is he's fixing them every day. Every sack in practice is a lesson. Every pass barely avoided is a footwork correction. Every broken pocket is a new timing rhythm tucked away in his mental film room. You can't simulate this. You can't teach what he's learning now in any QB school or pre-draft boot camp. This is experience under real duress, and most importantly, there are no cameras, no critics, no pressure to be perfect, just pain. Then, progress. This is the advantage no one sees. Imagine a day where Shedeur finally takes the field as QB1. The defensive line he faces? Nowhere near as fast, not as technical, not as explosive as the all-world rusher he's already survived 60 practices against. That's when the game slows down. That's when Shedeur sees the blitz coming from a mile away. That's when other rookie QBs are flinching, and he's floating in the pocket like it's a walkthrough. Because when you grow up dodging a tornado, a thunderstorm feels like a warm breeze. Bottom line, Shedeur Sanders isn't just learning how to run an offense. He's earning his scars against the best of the best. And when he finally gets live reps, they won't feel like his first. They'll feel like practice. Every NFL quarterback has a story. Some come from small towns. Some were overlooked in high school. Some dominate in college, then collapse under professional pressure. And then, there's Shedeur Sanders. We know his name. We know his father. But what most people don't fully appreciate is how Deion Sanders, primetime himself, didn't just raise a football player. He raised a professional. Not a loudmouth, not a highlight hunter. A real quarterback. One who thinks before he throws, studies before he speaks, and prepares like the spotlight is always coming, even if it isn't on yet. Because that's how Deion built him. The difference isn't talent, it's mindset. When people predict Shedeur's future, they love focusing on the genetics, the arm strength, the footwork, the presence in the pocket. Sure, all those things are real. And yes, It helps when your dad is one of the greatest athletes to ever touch a football field. But the real advantage? The way Dion taught Shedeur to think. He taught him that if you're waiting for your number to be called, you've already lost. You don't get ready in this league. You stay ready at all times. That phrase, said by Dion again and again over the years, is the foundational philosophy behind everything Shedeur is doing right now in Cleveland. Scout team reps, treated like game day. Practice squad chemistry, treated like playoff timing. Live rush drills versus starters, treated like real pressure. And you don't hear Shedeur talking about why he should be playing. You hear him talking about learning, about watching film, about working with the unit most fans never pay attention to. That kind of consistency doesn't happen by accident. Raised for the moment, not the hype. Shedeur Sanders understands something that most media personalities don't. Hype doesn't protect you on Sunday. The camera doesn't slow the defense down. Flashy talk disappears the second a safety drops into cover 3 and dares you to miss the read. So instead of raising his son to chase attention, he taught him to chase execution. That's why Shedeur looks calm under fire, why he speaks with purpose, why he's not embarrassing himself on social media or throwing tantrums because he's not in the starting lineup. Look around the NFL, and you'll see a dozen young quarterbacks who arrived with fireworks and interviews. But no plan, no foundation, no grip on the mental edge. Shedeur, he's already playing the long game. Quiet film room over loud headlines. This looks like the Shedeur Sanders effect in its purest form. Dion was charismatic, yes, but he backed it up with obsessive preparation. He knew opponents' routes better than they did at times. His film room sessions were legendary. That mindset, he passed it down. And now Shedeur is carrying that legacy perfectly, but in his own quiet brilliance, surgical way. He's not trying to be a clone of primetime. He's becoming his own weapon, designed in the lab of excellence that Dion built. This is why you won't find Shedeur arguing online, why you won't see him demanding press conferences or thanking the haters. His work speaks, and that's exactly how he was trained. Dion didn't just teach confidence, he taught control. Everyone expects Dion to have raised an outspoken son, and yet, what you're seeing is a player who's as measured as he is motivated. Does he have swagger? Of course, but it's internal. It's directed toward growth, toward responsibility, not ego. So when Shedeur says, "I'm happy to compete on scout team, I'm happy to get 6 games a week instead of 1, that's not just soundbite material. That's the mindset of someone who knows he'll be great, but doesn't need to rush greatness. That's not just maturity, that's development. That's intelligence. That's Dion's DNA, not just intel. There's something powerful about patience. Not the weak kind, the strategic kind. The kind of patience that builds pressure silently until eventually it explodes with precision. That's where Shedeur Sanders is right now. He's not hoping he'll get an opportunity. He knows it's coming, and when it does, it won't look like a rookie debut. It'll look like he's already been here. Because mentally, physically, emotionally, and systematically, this man is not new to the moment. This isn't about if, it's about when. Let's be real. The quarterback room in Cleveland is crowded, for now. But that's the nature of the NFL. Depth charts are written in pencil. Starter spots can change in a heartbeat. A bad injury, a losing streak, a locker room shift, a single bad game too many. And suddenly, all eyes shift. Quarterback is the most scrutinized position in sports. No one stays entrenched forever, and when the door cracks open, you don't. His receivers are already listening. This is the part that most people don't understand about quarterback transitions. If you step in and your teammates don't trust you, it doesn't matter how much talent you have. The play breaks down, the rhythm is off, the execution fails. But Shedeur's been building chemistry with second stringers who are hungry themselves. Guys who are fighting for roster spots, contracts, respect. And when Shedeur steps in with those guys, there's going to be fire in every route, belief behind every catch attempt, trust in every read. He's already turned the scout team into a working offense. Now imagine what he can do when paired with first-team talent, protected by a top unit, backed by a coach who tells him, "It's your show now." That's ignition. What will teams do when the tape finally drops? That's the scariest part. Right now, there's zero NFL film on Shedeur Sanders in live game action. And that's working in his favor. Defenses won't know how mobile he really is under pressure, what parts of the field he favors, what his timing looks like with starting receivers, how aggressive he is outside the pocket. They'll have college film, practice guesses, skimmed reports. In other words, they'll be unprepared. Shedeur will walk into his first 1 or 2 games with minimal expectations placed on him and maximum flexibility to shine. That's the perfect environment for a breakout. Quiet confidence is deadly in this league. There's a long list of quarterbacks who entered the NFL loud, overhyped, and flamed out fast. And then, there's a shorter, more dangerous list. The ones who stayed quiet, watched, learned, waited, then unleashed exactly what the league didn't see coming. Shedeur's trying to join that list. And if everything we've seen so far is any indication, he's not just going to get a chance, he's going to take someone else's job. And he's going to do it with the same calm, calculated presence he's mastering right now, behind closed doors. When Shedeur Sanders' number is called, it won't be a surprise. It'll be the completion of a process that started long before his name trended. And when the lights finally hit, the rest of the NFL won't be watching a rookie. They'll be watching a next-generation quarterback take his seat at the table, like it was reserved the whole time. In the NFL, there are 2 ways a quarterback gets on the field: out of desperation, or by design. Most backups enter the spotlight in panic mode. A starter goes down, the team is losing, or the season's slipping away. It's reactive, chaotic, last-ditch, and more often than not, the result is predictable. But Shedeur Sanders, he's not being positioned as a stopgap. He's a calculated chess move, not an emergency escape route. Everything about the way Shedeur is being handled points to something intentional, not accidental. And that, more than anything, should scare the rest of the league. This isn't, "Let's see what he can do." It's, "Let's see when we need him." The way the Browns are managing Shedeur goes way beyond your typical rookie development track. He's not being buried on the bench. He's not bouncing from scout team to inactive list. He's being kept ready, sharp, involved, tested daily against the ones. You don't do that with someone you don't believe in. You do it when you've already decided. This guy might be the future. Let's get him ready quietly. Don't confuse silence with uncertainty. Just because the Browns haven't made a public declaration about Shedeur doesn't mean they don't see the vision. In fact, that's often how the smartest plans are built in the NFL. Because let's be real, the quarterback position comes with media baggage. If Shedeur was being hyped publicly, the headlines would spin out of control. Is he the starter now? Are the Browns giving up on QB1's name? Coach under pressure to make a change? So what do they do instead? They slow-roll his exposure. They let him cook behind the scenes. They wait until the situation requires no explanation. And by the time his number gets called, he won't look like the next man up. He'll look like he was the plan the whole time. He's not just what if. He's insurance and leverage. In every successful franchise, there comes a time where the backup QB becomes more than a backup. They're leverage in the building. They're the reason the team doesn't panic if the starter struggles. They're security and strategy. The Browns have seen what happens when a team has no backup plan. They're not making that mistake again. And Shedeur? He's way more than just insurance. He's a player who brings internal competition and long-term upside. He's someone who at any moment can become the spark no one was expecting, especially if the current system starts leaking oil. The locker room already sees it. Another important detail in all of this, teammates aren't blind. They know who shows up early. They know who controls the scout team with precision. They know which backup QBs are just waiting and which ones are really grinding. Shedeur has already earned his respect doing the unseen work. That kind of reputation doesn't come overnight. It's built rep by rep, earned through tape, and validated by consistent production during practices that don't count publicly, but count internally. So when, not if, he eventually gets elevated, he won't be walking into a cold locker room. He'll be walking into a team filled with guys who've already seen what he does without the spotlight. NFL timing is everything. This timing is intentional. Franchises don't bet against their own quarterbacks publicly, but they're always preparing, quietly. Watching trends, monitoring health, measuring growth. Look at the timing. Shedeur interviews are now surfacing. Coaches are dropping subtle quotes like, "He's making progress." The fan base is becoming aware. The media hasn't turned it into a storm yet. That's all part of the plan. Let the pressure build. Let Shedeur marinate. Let the door open naturally. And when it does, there's no hesitation, no questions, no panic. Just a quarterback who's already ready, stepping into the role like it was always his. Because it was. This isn't random. It's strategic patience, and it's about to pay off. There's something powerful about patience. Not the weak kind, the strategic kind. The kind of patience that builds pressure silently, until eventually it explodes with precision. That's where Shedeur Sanders is right now. He's not hoping he'll get an opportunity. He knows it's coming, and when it does, it won't look like a rookie debut. It'll look like he's already been here, because mentally, physically, emotionally, and systematically, this man is not new to the moment. This isn't about if, it's about when. Let's be real. The quarterback room in Cleveland is crowded, for now. But that's the nature of the NFL. Depth charts are written in pencil. Starter spots can change in a heartbeat. A bad injury, a losing streak, a locker room shift, a single bad game too many. And suddenly, all eyes shift. Quarterback is the most scrutinized position in sports. No one stays entrenched forever. And when the door cracks open, you don't knock. You kick it down. That's what Shedeur is preparing for. Not in theory, in practice. Every single week. Most QBs step into the fire. Shedeur will step in ready. Think about the average rookie QB scenario. They get thrown into a game because of injury or poor performance. The stadium's loud, the game's fast, the pressure is nuclear. They're rattled, they're rushed, they miss reads, they force throws, they fold. But Shedeur, he's already stood in the fire. It's just been during practices when no one was watching but his teammates and coaches. He's already been chased by Myles Garrett. He's already thrown into tight windows on NFL speed timing. He's already felt the rhythm of game speed reps, 5, 6 days a week. So when the day comes, and it will, when Shedeur gets the call, he won't be surprised by the moment. It'll feel like Tuesday. Practice, routine, that's the advantage he's building. And nobody in the league is seeing it yet. His receivers are already listening. This is the part that most people don't understand about Court. If you step in and your teammates don't trust you, it doesn't matter how much talent you have. The play breaks down, the rhythm is off, the execution fails. But Shedeur's been building chemistry with second stringers who are hungry themselves, guys who are fighting for roster spots, contracts, respect. And when Shedeur steps in with those guys, there's going to be fire in every route, belief behind every catch attempt, trust in every read. He's already turned the scout team into a working offense. Now imagine what he can do when paired with first-team talent, protected by a top unit, backed by a coach who tells him, "It's your show now." That's ignition. What will teams do when the tape finally drops? That's the scariest part. Right now, there's zero NFL film on Shedeur Sanders in live game action, and that's working in his favor. Defenses won't know. So, how mobile he really is under pressure, what parts of the field he favors, what his timing looks like with starting receivers. how aggressive he is outside the pocket. They'll have college film, practice guesses, skimmed reports. In other words, they'll be unprepared. Shedeur will walk into his first 1 or 2 games with minimal expectations placed on him and maximum flexibility to shine. That's the perfect environment for a breakout. Quiet confidence is deadly in this league. There's a long list of quarterbacks who entered the NFL loud, overhyped, and flamed out fast. And then there's a shorter, more dangerous list. The ones who stayed quiet, watched, learned, waited, then unleashed exactly what the league didn't see coming. Shedeur's trying to join that list. And if everything we've seen so far is any indication, he's not just going to get a chance, he's going to take someone else's job. And he's going to do it with the same calm, calculated presence he's mastering right now, behind closed doors. When Shedeur Sanders' number is called, it won't be a surprise. It'll be the completion of a process that started long before his name trended. And when the lights finally hit, the rest of the NFL won't be watching a rookie. They'll be watching a next-generation quarterback take his seat at the table, like it was reserved the whole time. Say Shedeur really the NFL's best-kept secret? Or is he just another backup waiting for his shot? Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because when his moment comes, it won't be quiet.